This is a very long interview, and although interesting, I will only bring you some of it. If interested, you can read the remainder at the link in the video description. LifeSite interview with Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano. LifeSite News. You have recently mentioned the apparitions of Our Lady of Civitavecchia in reference to the messages of Our Lady of Fatima. You said in a recent interview, in addition, it was Bertoni himself who heavily discredited and censured the Madonnina della Lacrime, the weeping statue of Our Lady of Civitavecchia, whose message perfectly agrees with what she said at Fatima. Could you tell us about the happenings at Civitavecchia, which is located at the outskirts of the Metropolitan Diocese of Rome? What happened there? Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano. Papa, Papa, the Madonna is crying. On February 2, 1995, at 4:21 p.m., Jessica Gregori, a little girl who was not even 6 years old, was about to go to Holy Mass with her family when for the first time she saw a small statue of Mary Most Holy crying tears of blood in the small stone grotto which her father had recently built in front of their house. Fabio, her father, was putting his 18-month-old son Davide into the car when he heard his daughter crying out repeatedly. When he heard the word blood, he rushed over and realized what was happening, even though at first it was quite perplexing. His wife Anna Maria was already waiting for them at church, but she was not surprised to hear what had happened, since she had not forgotten a dream she had the preceding January 18 that referred to a painful event that would take place on the day of Candlemas. From that day on, the phenomenon repeated itself a total of 13 times, in front of crowds of witnesses, until February 6. Numerous public security agents, who were promptly called by Fabio, were also present uninterruptedly during these days to guard the sacred image and would also give sworn testimony about these events during the investigation. A storm broke out around the young family. The parish priest, who was the first eyewitness after the members of the family, informed the diocesan bishop, Monsignor Girolamo Grillo, but the bishop did not want to know about the event, and he tore up the first report that was written by the parish priest himself. Grillo's hostility to the events was very strong and triggered negative media reaction. At the request of various parties, the judiciary investigated the family on multiple counts. They carried out all sorts of research and examination on the liquid, on the statue and in the homes of the Gregori family and their relatives. Fabio Gregori himself pushed for these investigations to be carried out, because he wanted the truth to be revealed and to protect his family, even to the point of proposing to mortgage their house in order to pay for the very expensive DNA testing that needed to be done. The statue of Mary was confiscated by the bishop and kept in his own home, where it continued to weep blood in front of various witnesses until March 15. Bishop Grillo himself told me what happened that day. It was 8:15 in the morning. After celebrating Holy Mass, Bishop Grillo acceded to his sister's request to pray before the sacred image, which he had been keeping in a closet. With the people who were present that day, Bishop Grillo began reciting the Hail, Holy Queen. When they said the line, "Turn then, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy toward us," the statue began to weep blood. The shock was so great that the bishop had to receive first aid from a cardiologist. After this disturbing event, Bishop Grillo radically changed his attitude. He stopped the DNA investigation, established a theological commission and began an ecclesiastical process to study and verify the event. As he himself would declare, he changed from being a judge to a witness. In the meantime, the Pope, John Paul II, let the bishop know that he was personally interested and invited him not to be skeptical. Now the tables were turned, the media turned against the bishop and did not accept his testimony, and the judiciary took the little statue into custody. At that point, John Paul II gave a tangible sign of his support and closeness. On April 10, 1995, he sent his close friend Cardinal André Maria Desker to preside over a prayer vigil in the diocesan cathedral in reparation for the seizure of the statue. On that occasion, the cardinal also blessed on the Pope's behalf a second statue that was identical to the one that had cried, which was then given to the family. Subsequently, this statue would display phenomena of exuding a very fragrant oil before numerous witnesses. The same statue, the second statue, wept tears of water during the days of the final agony of John Paul II in 2005, and then again on the same days, from March 28 to April 2, the following year. On March 31, 2006, Bishop Grillo personally witnessed this weeping once again, and he testified to it publicly in the press. After the first statue of the Blessed Mother was released from custody by the judicial on June 11, 1995, John Paul II wanted to venerate and crown her in the Vatican at his apartment, but in secret, so as not to interfere with the investigation of the Diocesan Commission. He later confirmed in writing that this event happened, in a document dated October 8, 2000, which was personally signed by him on the following October 20. On June 17, 1995, the original statue of the Blessed Mother was solemnly exposed in the parish church in Civitavecchia for the public veneration of the faithful, where she remains to this day. On March 15, 2005, the 10th anniversary of the last time the statue wept in 1995, the diocesan bishop issued a decree for the construction of a diocesan shrine. LifeSite. What are the main messages of Our Lady to Jessica and her father, Fabio Gregori? Beginning on February 6, 1995, shortly after the 13th occasion of weeping, Fabio heard an external voice talking to him. Actually, Anna Maria had already previously been the recipient of revelations in the form of dreams, and little by little the entire family gradually became involved in the celestial manifestations. But from that moment on, this voice spoke many times, but with different identities, sometimes the Father, sometimes the Son. Then, beginning on July 2, 1995, a series of apparitions began to happen of Jesus, Mary, and the angels, including numerous messages, ending on May 17, 1996. The Blessed Virgin also appeared again recently, giving a message on December 23, 2018. In addition, the events themselves and the silent visions are significant signs that carry messages within them. When Jessica was asked about the central message given by Our Lady in Civitavecchia, she replied, "The main message is that they want to destroy the family. And then the apostasy in the Church and the risk of a Third World War. The most obvious message is the sign of Mary weeping tears of blood." The voice heard by Fabio revealed that it is the blood of Jesus shed for all the children who turn away from her Immaculate Heart, to give you salvation. May 17, 1995. This is at the same time both a warning of grave danger and the offering of the means of salvation. There is also a heartfelt warning of a particular danger for Italy. Your nation is in grave danger. In Rome, darkness is descending more and more on the rock that my Son Jesus left you, on which to build up, educate and spiritually raise his children. Bishops, your task is to continue the growth of God's Church, since you are God's heirs. There is a constant invitation to communion within the Church of Jesus, the priests and faithful united to the bishops, while the bishops are called to return to being of one heart, full of true faith and humility. The messages strongly call people to return to the sacramental life. They speak of the need to be nourished with Eucharistic communion, daily if possible, to go to confession regularly on Sundays, a discrete emphasis on the importance of receiving communion in the state of grace. They invite people to Eucharistic adoration. There is a strong call to personal prayer, to placing oneself in the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist for at least a quarter of an hour a day, to the praying the Holy Rosary daily, a powerful weapon to defeat Satan, and to the sanctification of daily life by transforming all the gestures of family life into acts of love which save souls from Satan. There is an invitation to family love, to love for children, who are ours and yours. On the Italian Day for Life the statue wept 7 times. At the same time the messages contain a warning of a fierce attack by Satan against the family, as a strategy to destroy the Church together with an internal attack made by means of many priests. There is a heartfelt appeal to listen to my Son Jesus, true God and your brother. Listen to and build up His Word, revealed to the Holy Church so that you may become true children of God, so that you may do God's will in your daily life for your sanctification. The world is becoming more and more a prisoner of Satan's darkness and evil, without sparing numerous servants of the Church. The heartfelt and strong words are precisely those of a distressed mother. Children, the Church has entered the period of great trial, and in many of you the faith will become unstable. As we have said, the messages warn of the great danger of a Third World War, which may be a nuclear war, but which can be stopped with weapons stronger than those used, which are love, prayers, humility, the Rosary and true conversion of your hearts to God through our Heavenly Mother who is holding you all in her arms, close to her Immaculate Heart. There is an insistent request for the consecration of families to her Immaculate Heart, of parishes, cities, dioceses, and the world, as a pledge of protection on her part. Consecrate yourselves all to me, to my Immaculate Heart, and I will protect your nation under my mantle now full of graces. Listen to me, please, I beg you. I am your Heavenly Mother, I beg you, do not make me weep again seeing so many of my children die for your faults by not accepting me and allowing Satan to act. But the appeal also instills great peace. Let yourself be guided in your steps with the simplicity with which a child puts his hand in the hand of his father. My Immaculate Heart will transform your sufferings into joys which you accept with true love, for these are trials which the Lord Jesus allows. September 8, 1995. LifeSite. What were the findings of the police investigations, as well as the medical findings concerning the nature of the blood that was shed as tears by the statue of Our Lady? The red liquid on the first statue was analyzed on site by the official doctor, who found it to be human blood. The statue of the Blessed Mother had not yet stopped crying. The photographic evidence following the weeping on March 15, 1995, when the statue was in the bishop's hands was also impressive, because the blood traces covered the same identical stains that had been previously removed for examination, even though the statue was now in a horizontal position. X-ray analysis was carried out with 42 CT scans, and also a first analysis of the blood aimed at isolating the DNA, which found 5 polymorphisms and gave alternating results regarding the gender, which appeared to be at times male and at other times female, but was recognized as predominantly male. There was a dishonest media campaign aimed at discrediting the Grigori family, saying that they refused to submit to comparative DNA testing because they wanted to avoid further investigation. Even recently someone tried to reopen the issue by stooping to new shameful lows. Among other things, it should be remembered that majority of the weeping occurred without the Grigori family even being present. The truth is that at the time, Fabio refused to allow his blood to be drawn solely out of obedience to the bishop, and he was very conflicted about it. Only a message heard from the voice that spoke to him succeeded in stopping him from deciding to undergo the examination. It is very interesting to hear this message: the way of truth is in the Church of God. The truth comes from God. Do not fear man, fear God. May 6, 1995. Later it became clearer that the blood sample taken from the statue had been taken incorrectly, in the absence of an expert, without plausible reasons, and therefore it would have been impossible to procedurally ascertain the validity of the slide of the liquid that was taken. Furthermore, even if that blood sample had been accepted, it was not of a sufficient quantity to permit a complete DNA examination. Since no further weeping occurred afterwards, there is no material possibility of making a comparison. But it must be remembered that Fabio Gregori has always told the Church that he is completely available for any kind of investigation. LifeSite. There was an investigation of these supernatural events by a diocesan commission. Could you tell us about the results of that investigation and whether this apparition has been approved by the Church? The Diocesan Theological Commission set up by the bishop expressed itself in favor of the supernatural nature of the event by a majority. In 1997, Bishop Grillo himself forwarded the results to the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, and on October 27, 1997, the CDF announced the establishment of a commission presided over by Cardinal Camillo Ruini. This commission was dissolved without ever publishing a verdict, which juridically means the tacit confirmation of the Diocesan Commission's verdict. There are numerous signs of indirect recognition by the Church. The solemn exposition of the miraculous statue of the Blessed Mother to public veneration in the parish church, in accord with the request made to Fabio by the voice he heard on February 6, 1995. The solemn consecration of the city of Civitavecchia and the diocese by the bishop in obedience to the Virgin's message of December 7, 1995, which was read publicly during the ceremony on December 8, 1996. The document drawn up by the bishop on October 8, 2000, and countersigned by John Paul II on October 20, 2000, certifying the pontifical veneration and crowning of the statue. The decree of erection of the diocesan shrine at the parish church where the statue is venerated. The Holy Mass celebrated by the diocesan bishop in the house of the Gregori family, as well as the simultaneous written removal of all the prohibitions previously prudentially issued against the family. The publication by the diocesan bishop of a dossier on the event on the 10th anniversary of the weeping, in the Diocesan Review of 2005. The desire expressed in writing by Bishop Grillo to publish news and messages on the event in a book written by the Vice President of the Diocesan Theological Commission, which was published in 2005 by Father Flavio Ubadi. Numerous written and filmed testimonies by Bishop Grillo about the tears and also the exuding of oil, as well as his relationship with the Gregori family. The announcement of the beginning of construction of the shrine by Bishop Grillo's successor, Bishop Carlo Cenis, on August 28, 2008. He later died prematurely and was unable to complete the project. However, he was able to leave a written letter of attestation of the fidelity of the Gregori family to the Church on March 1, 2008. The solemn coronation of the holy statue by Bishop Shini's successor, Bishop Luigi Marucci, on April 26, 2014, who was the bishop at the time, he has since resigned, in the presence of the Bishop Emeritus and Archbishop Giovanni Mara.